Spider-Man has had his ups and downs in entertainment over the years, with incredible movie moments.
What are you doing down there? I run better than I swim.
And some not so incredible. To one of the best rides of all time, which sadly we're not talking about today. Instead, we're taking the second expedition looking at another terrible, terrible Spider-Man show. This time the rock opera that is SpiderMan Rocks at Universal Studios Hollywood. While Sony scooped up the rights to use Spider-Man in film, it would be Universal who would be the highest bidder to use Marvel characters in its theme parks.
In the Adventures of Spider-Man, we literally get dropped into the pages of a comic book.
Time to blow you off the street.
After the success of The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man in 1999, they would bring the friendly neighborhood hero to its other US parks.
Universal Studios Hollywood, the world's largest movie studio and theme park.
The Castle Theatre, which had been constructed after the success of the Land of a Thousand Faces makeup show, which then turned into the Castle Dracula show in the early 1980s, had mostly sat empty since Beetlejuice's Graveyard Revue closed in 1999. It would be 3 years later when a new show would launch inside, and it was a weird one.
Thank you.
Anytime.
I found my hero. Somebody hit the lights so we can ride day and night. People getting down, that's right. From AM to PM.
SpiderMan Rocks hoped to capitalize on the success of the mega hit movie Spider-Man that had opened just a few weeks earlier, being the first film to reach $100 million in a single weekend. While Spider-Man would scale New York City on the big screen, the new Universal show would take a somewhat different approach.
Hey, watch where you're going. Hey, you're talking to me.
Opening on Memorial Day, May 27th, 2002, it would feature Mary Jane, a short visit from Green Goblin, and for a small portion of it, Spider-Man. Billed as an explosive rock and roll stunt show with a cast of 6, the show opens up with a group of teenagers teasing our main character, Peter Parker, who walks around taking photos.
New York, a city with a million stories. And who am I? Just one of those stories.
Before shifting to Oscorp, and Peter has been bitten by the radioactive spider. This is when the show really starts. 3 minutes into our story, we have our first song for the rock section of the title. Peter rips his shirt open and runs around the stage for the next 2 minutes, climbing the stage and swinging on a rope while one of the other performers sing Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler. Oh yes, we're just getting started on the Spider-Man story, and the next song is, let's say, an interesting choice for Mary Jane.
Talk to me, tell me a sign. You're switching sides like a Gemini. You're playing games and now you hit my heart like a drum. Yeah, baby. Well, if maybe luck is on my side, we're gonna rock this town alive. I'll let her rough me up till she knocks me out.
Mary Jane walks and dances around the stage while two muggers come to attack her while singing She Bangs by Ricky Martin. Yeah. Mary Jane escapes and sings Holding Out for a Hero mixed with the muggers' She Bangs. Finally, nearly halfway through the show, Spider-Man appears and fights off the muggers. But wait, this isn't just a Spider-Man story. This is SpiderMan Rocks. The next song is the Foo Fighters' My Hero as Spidey saves Mary Jane.
That was just in the neighborhood.
Justin, oh wait a minute, how did he go way up? Oh goodness, thank you so much.
Anytime.
The next 5 minutes consist of the other 4 cast members singing a medley of songs and dancing on stage before the arrival of Green Goblin, finally, with one of the more impressive effects on the show on top of his glider.
Can Spider-Man come out to play? Yes, Goblin, you call.
Many of the early reviews commented on the fact that the show had the cartoon look and not the high-tech look of the movie, without understanding it was owned by a different studio entirely. But the Spider-Man movie was extremely popular right before the show opened.
I've got you now, insect. Technically, it's arachnid. Technically, it's a pumpkin box.
Spider-Man again finally reappears to confront the Goblin, backed by the music of Queen's Another One Bites the Dust. Yeah, this was a real show for 2 years. Finally, Goblin and Spider-Man end up battling and swinging out over the crowd. We're not finished yet though. After Spidey has saved her in the 2 minutes they were on stage together, Mary J tells Spidey she loves him before one final number.
Who are you anyway?
You know who I am.
Peter Parker, I love you.
Okay, so the 20-minute SpiderMan's Rock show was a weird mix of music and some okay but otherwise mediocre effects. On opening though, it was really popular and mostly filled the theatre for each show. Most of that hype though came from the much superior movie, and the show definitely took advantage of this. Those coming to see a unique, high-flying stunt and musical numbers were left disappointed. Eventually the show's viewers started to decline, and with the merger of NBC and Universal, the show's days were numbered. After surprisingly nearly 2 years of running, the show was closed at the end of 2004 and replaced with Fear Factor Live. SpiderMan Rocks lacked Spider-Man ultimately, and instead was an attempt at a condensed Broadway-style show without the dedicated songs to even tell a story. Universal tried to take the success of the character and mix it with music that would keep the kids entertained, but instead they just asked, where was Spider-Man? The set was uninspiring compared to what was previously at home in the theatre, and even the show was more jumbled than Beetlejuice's musical show. This also isn't the only time that Spider-Man has been in the musical genre. In 1975, a concept album was released visiting some of the most important moments in the life of Spider-Man, with rock reflections of a superhero.
Once I was changed in my existence, now I know just who I am. Spider-Man.
After SpiderMan Rocks had closed on Broadway, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark opened in 2011 to again mixed reviews and many troubles. In 2002 though, the Universal show greeted fans of Spider-Man and the movie, but with the high expectations it was always going to disappoint, and turns out Spider-Man does not rock. At least he didn't for 2 years at Universal Studios Hollywood anyway. Thank you for watching this episode of Expedition Weekly. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the expedition. This is the second visit to the Castle Theatre at Universal Studios Hollywood, but it won't be the last. A special thank you to our patrons, and we will see you next time. Now dig on this.